Hi, my name is Alex Dolphin and welcome back to another episode of Ex Ante. Today we're going to discuss the case of Muthukumarana versus Montgomery County. This case was heard in the Maryland Court of Appeals in the year of 2002. Let's go ahead and jump into the facts of the case. The court in this decision considers two separate cases. So the heading is Muthukumarana. If I was saying that right, I'm probably just going to say Muthu for the rest of the video. So the heading is under Muthu. But there's another case that the court considers, Fried v. Archer as well. Both cases deal with the duty that dispatchers owe to emergency victims, right? So if someone is in an emergency, they call a dispatcher. Does that dispatcher have a special duty to the individual that called them? So we'll talk through both sets of facts, and then we'll go over the court's ruling in this instance. So in Fried versus Archer, there was a teenage girl. She was at a house party, and when she was at this house party, a bunch of people got very drunk. She got so drunk to the level that she was semi-conscious. Some people took advantage of her sexually, did some really bad things to her. Anyway, eventually, a couple of boys at the party decide that, hey, you know what, we've had enough of seeing her getting taken advantage of. We're just going to take her outside and leave her outside to sober up. That way no one else can kind of take advantage of her. So they take her out and they take her into the woods and they leave her there. It's not snowing at this point, but there's a snowstorm on the horizon, so to speak, that's coming in. The two boys are drunk themselves and they call the 911 dispatcher and they say, hey, we've left someone in the woods. We just wanted to let you know that this girl's in the woods. Will you come and get her? So the dispatcher asks for some more information, exactly where the address is, the location, and for the individual's name. The dispatcher doesn't get the individual's name who called 911, so there's no ability for her to recontact in the future. Anyways, the dispatcher does send out a police officer. The police officer goes and looks for, her name is Tiffany, the girl that was drunk and was laid in the woods. The police officer can't find her because the location wasn't determined enough in the call from the boy to the dispatcher. So ultimately, the police officer doesn't find Tiffany. Tiffany is outside unconscious during the snowstorm and she dies of hypothermia, tragically. So the parents are bringing suit against the 911 dispatcher and claiming that she had a duty to get the information from that boy who called and get the exact location of Tiffany so that the police officer could find her. So that's the first set of facts. The second set of facts is Muthu is in her home and she gets into a domestic altercation with her husband. Her husband proceeds to, and these are just graphic details, but her husband proceeds to slam her head into the wall. She begins to bleed, and then her husband goes upstairs. At this instant, she calls 911 and she says, hi, my husband is attacking me. He's attacking me. The dispatcher tries to get some more information from Miss Muthu. Unfortunately, no more information really is given. She's kind of in a panic, right? Like anyone would be. Eventually, Miss Muthu says, yeah, he has a gun. He's coming. And the dispatcher says, where's the gun? And then all of a sudden, shots are fired and Miss Muthu tragically dies. So the estate, friends of Miss Muthu, bring suit claiming wrongful death. They say that the dispatcher had a duty to Miss Muthu, and they say that the dispatcher breached this duty when she didn't tell Miss Muthu to vacate the house immediately. They claim that if the dispatcher would have told Miss Muthu to vacate the home at the beginning of the call, she wouldn't have been subject to the shots of the husband. So two similar sets of facts. The issue before the court is whether or not 911 dispatchers have a duty to the people who call, or to the people who call in the case of Miss Muthu, and to individuals who could be found or protected by the call. So the court deals with these two issues at once. Court wrestles with a Good Samaritan section of the restatement, which says that if someone undergoes voluntary action to try and protect someone, and they mess up during that voluntary action, then they could be held liable for whatever they screwed up. The court ultimately dismisses this. They says a Good Samaritan restatement section, we're not going to apply that, but what we're going to analyze critically is whether there was a special relationship and therefore a special duty between the dispatchers and the individuals on the other end of the call. the court says that there is not a special duty. So this is the key. There's not a special duty or relationship between the dispatchers and the individuals on the other side. So that precludes the plaintiffs from recovering based in a negligence suit based upon failure of the first prong of negligence, which is duty. They say that there's no duty because the individuals, the plaintiffs, didn't pay the dispatchers directly. The dispatchers were responsible, like unto police officers, for the safety of the public at large, and not for the individual safety of the individuals on the other side of the call. And for that reason, they didn't have a direct and special relationship with those callers to 9/11, and there's no special duty formed. Therefore, the plaintiffs in both cases aren't able to recover. So that's the key. It's also worth noting that the court does grapple with qualified immunity, and they say that these dispatchers don't have qualified immunity because they're not public officials. But really the meat of the case is that there's no special duty, no special relationship between dispatchers and people who call 9/11. So that's the case. Two sets of facts, a long case, but very meaningful and important for the case law to develop in Maryland, and different states have treated this differently. The court does recognize that, but they say that they're not going to adopt tests from New York. They want to handle it this way because it gives them the ability to take their plaintiffs as they come and to reconcile the facts in front of them rather than just have a test that would apply to all these facts and maybe result in some injustices. So an ex-ante discussion of this. The reason the court ruled this way is that there's a big policy reason for the court to rule this way, and that is that if 9/11 dispatchers were subject to personal liability for some small mistakes that they made, maybe not fully getting the information of where the person is at, or not telling someone to vacate the house because it's a stressful experience for both the dispatcher and the 9/11 caller. We wouldn't really have anyone that wants to work as a dispatcher for the police officers. And that would be a big problem for society. If all of these people, if they just kind of messed up every once in a while, and then these people could bring wrongful death suits, millions of dollars in damages against these dispatchers, no one would want to work as a police dispatcher. So that's the argument in favor of what the Maryland Court of Appeals ruled here. It's mainly a policy argument. On the other side of that, it does seem a bit unjust that both of these plaintiffs in this case weren't able to recover against the dispatcher who seemingly has a duty. I think intuitively we feel that a dispatcher does have a duty to individuals of the public to protect them and to perform their tasks in a reasonable way to protect them. And when the dispatcher, didn't get the full information of where the girl was located or didn't tell Miss Muthu to leave the home, it could easily be seen as someone breaching that duty. Just something to think about. There is the policy argument that, hey, we shouldn't allow these people to recover because no one would work as a police call, dispatcher, 9/11 dispatcher. But there could be another side of this where plaintiffs are able to recover and the damages would just be taken on by the police department rather than by the individual dispatchers. It would also promote better working by the dispatchers, right? Like they would be more efficient. They would have a box of things that they need to tick each time. I'm not suggesting they're not efficient right now, but maybe this would enable them to be even more efficient or incentivize them to be even more efficient. So thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you have a nice rest of your day. Bye-bye.